Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Just didn't want you all to forget about the Epstein files, because every opportunity that Trump has to try to throw a distraction at everybody, they will. Hey, Trev, I'm doing well. And yourself? Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that. I just try to spend some time letting folks know about things that are going on. And ultimately, people can make whatever decisions they want to make for themselves, but to let them know. Hey, Farmer Don, good afternoon. Hey, Teresa, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you all so much for joining me. If you could tap that like button, I'll appreciate that. And if you could also tap the copy link button. You don't even have to send it to anybody. It just counts as a share. Hey, Russ, good afternoon, handsome. Good afternoon. I have a couple things to tell you all about. I don't know if you all saw that video that I put out earlier about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, Trump does railroad the truth, Alice. He does do that. He does do that. Teresa, thank you so much for the share. And Trev as well. Yeah, but wanted to let you guys know about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So the Trump administration had sued, the Trump administration was dismantling the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Someone sued to say, no, the president shouldn't have authority to dismantle it. And the courts agreed with Trump. And in turn, they're continuing with the dismantling of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Hey, Lily, good afternoon. And something you all need to understand. That bureau is there to protect us. I have used the CFPB many a times because these companies are shady. And without the government sometimes stepping in, forcing corporations to do the things legally they're required to do, they won't do them. So again, to me, this tearing up, yep, the court agreed, again, because I didn't read the court decision, but I'm pretty sure the court's decision goes back to Congress needs to do their damn job. And Republicans aren't going to touch it, and Democrats have minorities, so it's nothing they can do. So in a nutshell, now corporations have even more of an opportunity to prey on you and prey on me, and you don't have really any more recourse. Because before you had the government you could go to. I remember I went to the CFPB one particular time because this lady decades ago stole my identity. And let me tell you, protect your identity, protect your information. When I say protect your information, protect your PII, which is your personally identifiable information. That is information somebody can take and go pretend to be you, right? So this lady, I guess she bought my information somewhere, right? And so I did everything I needed to do for years, putting alerts on reports, making sure that I keep track of things, all that stuff, so she could never do it again and I could catch things instantly, right? One day I get this letter from Sprint saying, hey, you owe us money for a cell phone bill, but I ain't never had Sprint. So, and it's her name on the item. So I contacted CFPB, especially because I have alerts on my credit report. There was no reason for Sprint to issue her credit because had they ran my credit report, and I never saw any inquiry about it, but apparently somewhere along the way they did, or they just gave it to her, and it didn't pop on my credit report until her ass didn't pay. But of course she didn't pay because it really wasn't hers. You understand? That's how I got it removed from my credit report. And the government had to contact them to get them to do their damn job. Because they wouldn't listen to me as the individual affected about my identity being taken. That's why I tell y'all, that's why we need organizations like CFPB. One time I had a bank. My credit union was wilding. This was way back in the day. I had this other credit union I had tried. And they were trying to do some shady stuff. I reported their ass to CFPB. And then I ain't had no problems out the bank. I took my money out of there and closed that damn account. Sometimes you need the government to step in. So Trump tearing up the CFPB and getting rid of it, that makes sense because, again, they have people who head up corporations whose very goal is to take your money and put you into bad contracts. So because of that, I'm not surprised. I want to stop for a second and say good afternoon, good evening to everybody. Happy Saturday. I hope you've had a wonderful day. I'm gonna just say that you did have a great day today. I'm gonna just say that you did. You know, claim it, as like I like to say. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you coming here this evening. Thank you so much to everyone that's here. Only thing I ask you to do is a couple things. I ask you to click that like button for me. I appreciate that. And I ask you to click that copy link button. You don't even have to send it to anybody, but it still counts as a share for me. And I appreciate that. I also want to remind my members of Patreon, my circle members and above, that a new episode of the Straight No Chaser podcast is available. It's already available on Patreon. You can see it. Everybody else will see that episode tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll pop up on YouTube, on Patreon, Spotify. It'll be in multiple places. So please check that out. I think you'll enjoy that. I went in on a continuation of actually what we talked about earlier. The different, I hate to call them games, but pro-life tips that men and women play with one another. So I thought it was a pretty cool thing. But thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. But yeah, the CFPB is being torn apart. So I still say make sure you talk to your congressperson, your senator. Even if they're a Republican and they don't listen, they need to know that you're there and you're going to stay there and you're not going to shut your mouth. You are going, as long as you pay taxes, as long as you are their constituent, they listen. They still represent you even if you didn't vote for them. So you have a right to be heard. Make sure that your voice is heard. These people need to understand that you're not going away. They need to understand that what they're doing is not okay. But I'm telling you, the CFPB is an organization that is one of the government organizations that I can say myself is a very useful organization for the regular working class American. All the more reason why corporations want to get rid of it. Because it makes corporations do the right thing. And that's not what they want to do. They want to fuck you over. That's just the truth. If companies could screw us over, they would. They would. I love when I hear rich people on TV say, no, let the market decide. The market is trash. The market don't give a damn about none of us. That's the problem with the market. Because the market is about profits. You see it every day with insurance companies. Insurance companies are profit over health. This is why insurance should not be a for-profit business. It should not. It should be a public utility. Something that is not for profit. I'm sorry. Government got to be in the business of dealing with health insurance. That's the bottom line. Which means they can't be using these big health insurance companies because health insurance companies care about money over everything. Like I was talking to I'm going to tell y'all a couple of things. Like I was talking to my doctor. I told you when I saw my other doctor a couple weeks ago. And and I was saying to her, man, when my mother was going through her transition, when she had been diagnosed as terminal and stuff, Kaiser was great. She had at-home care. She had hospice care. She had nurse. She had this, that, and the other. And my doctor said, when did this happen? I said, oh, my mom, it's almost been 10 years. She said, oh, they changed that. They don't give people all of that anymore. She said the insurance companies don't like to pay all that money. They put it on the families now. My doctor is telling me this. I'm like, damn. Even she knows it's a mess. But that's the system. That's the system. But she said the system ain't like that no more. Because understand, as soon as you're diagnosed as terminal, your insurance changes. You don't get the same level of care that you got before. It's a different level of care. I'll say that. I'm not saying it's worse. I'm going to say it's different. Once you are diagnosed as terminal, the level of care changes. What they're going to give you access to changes. Because certain things they're not going to pay for because they see it as for what? No disrespect. I'm just telling you how the health insurance company looks at it. Just telling you how the health insurance company looks at it. If you're a younger person, I tell you to sign up for long-term care insurance. Sign up for it. Because at least that will help you out with some type of long-term illnesses or something. I do not sell insurance. But I remember it was an older lady that I worked with that always talked about that. My 50-year-old ass still ain't signed up for it. I need to. What they say, clock is ticking. But I would get something. I would say just look it up, Sierra. Just Google long-term care insurance. It's things you can use for nursing homes and nursing care, in-home care, stuff like that. But I remember my coworker talking about it all the time. Like, you need to get a long-term care policy. She was way older than me. This lady was about to retire who was telling me this. Like, get yourself a long-term care policy. You know, she was one of those planners. And so I trusted her guidance. I just didn't do what I was supposed to do because I'm hard-headed. So that was almost 10 years ago. Miss Girl told me that, and I still ain't did it. So I need to do it. Yeah, but that's something, because your health insurance changes when you're diagnosed as terminal. It's not the same thing that it was when you know, might have been just battling an illness. You know what I mean? It changes at some point. And so that's why, that's something that we got to keep in mind. But I don't think health insurance should be for profit, because if health insurance is for profit, companies are going to look at the profits first and weigh their options. You know what I mean? But they're not going to just give you care just cause. No, they want a lot. They're going to want a lot of justifications for why you want certain things, why your doctor wants certain tests. I'm just telling you, because it's a different environment. Everything is about keeping costs low and profits high. I told y'all that's what capitalism is. Capitalism is cost low, profits high. That is always the equation. It's never going to be anything any different. Never expect it to be anything any different. That's exactly what it is. So that's why I say, just be mindful. You said you met with hospice yesterday for your 96-year-old uncle, and they said Medicare will cover. He has, okay, yeah, because there is a point where you can get some Medicare and some benefits, depending on age and stuff like that. My mother wasn't old enough at the time, so her health insurance did it. So now my grandmother, when she was having it, going through her transition, there was some Medicare involved and stuff like that. And she was at home, but she wanted to be in her own house. She wouldn't even live in my house. I was like, Cherry, you doing too much, sis. You doing too much. She just wanted to stay in her senior building so she could play cards for nickels. Child. And I'm going to tell you something. If you got a family member in one of those senior living communities, hold up, I'm about to do a segue real quick. If you have a family member in one of those senior living communities, watch your back. I am telling you, your family member is in there partying. They're in there gambling. They're in there having relations. They're in there having libations. They're in there having the puff, pass. They're in there having themselves a grand old fucking time. Okay? It's almost like because they know their parents not around, they get to do whatever they want to do. I'm just letting y'all know the things yes. You want to know how many, I more times than I got fingers and toes when I would go to my grandmother's senior living facility and find them Rhino pill packages on the ground. Listen, and the Magnum packages on the ground. Stop playing with it. The youngins coming through because mama helps to pay his cell phone bill. Y'all better stop playing with me. See, Titan is telling you. Listen, them old people getting busy, way busier than you are. You better talk to your mama about having safe sex. Because I am telling you, they are carrying. It wasn't nothing for me to go to see my grandmother and you could smell the ooey up and through there. Ain't nothing for that. Listen, what are you talking about? My grandmother went from not living in a senior facility, right? And if she smelled that, she would say, ooh, somebody smoking that Scooby-Doo. She went from that like ill to, oh, that ain't nothing, Miss Mildred down the hall. Wait a minute. That's what y'all doing is chill. Listen, if y'all only knew. They used to get turned in that building, okay? Turned. That's why I'm like, so if you have a senior, listen, I'm telling you, Sierra, if you have a senior in your family and they live in one of them facilities, just understand they are turned up. Okay? I'm trying to tell y'all. I'm trying to tell you. They have themselves a grand old time. That's all. I just wanted to segue to say that real quick. Because when I saw that comment, I'm like, oh, I have to address that. Because I hope y'all don't think they in those senior facilities just playing bingo. Because even if they are, oh, later on, they playing strip poker. Okay? Mama, oh, she not dead, beloved. What are you talking about? Mama not dead. Look, I'm going to tell y'all another story, right? I'm going to tell y'all about the time my mama went to my grandmother's house without announcing herself ahead of time and walked in on something. Okay. So one time, right? So my mother had a key to my grandmother's apartment. This is before she moved into a senior living facility, right? So when my mama got off work, she went on my grandmama's house and she didn't tell my grandmama she was coming. And so she didn't knock or nothing. She just walked in with the key and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm at home. My mother calls me. My mother's like, oh my God. I answer the phone. My mother's like, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm like, what's wrong, girl? What's wrong? She said, that's it. I'm never going over her house no more. I said, who? And she said her mama's name. I'm not going over there no more. I said, why not? Why not? Hold on. I got to get somebody crashing out real quick. Sorry, beloved. Bye. You've been blocked. Stop crashing out. You can't be crashing out in here. Anyway, so I'm like, why, girl? Why? She said, girl, I used the key. I open up the door. I'm looking for her. I'm walking all through the house looking for her. I can't find her nowhere. Girl, she go all the way to the back. Granny getting worked over. Mama wanted to give me her key. I said, no, ma'am, I'm good. Granny didn't give me a key before, and I don't want a key now. And I told my mama, that's what your ass get for going over at people's house unannounced. You can't be doing that. Your mama grown. Your mama grown, beloved. That lets you know it still works. Hello. What they say? That's why I tell you, don't go over your parents' house unannounced. That's why I don't go over nobody's house without calling first. My mama was nauseous too. But she learned not to go over nobody's house without calling first. Even if you have a key, you call. And if they don't answer, you could assume it's a problem or they're busy or, you understand what I'm saying? But you don't just roll up on your parents, especially when they're single. And see, another thing y'all don't understand is older people are very social. So they're out and about a lot more than you think. Those bingo halls, I know because I used to frequent those bingo halls. You can make a lot of money with them old people. Old people be having a lot of fuck you money. Well, at least back then they did. I can't speak for now. But back then, old people was always sitting on stacks and they loved to play bingo. So I would go to bingo too. You understand? Because bingo is a nice, quick place to go and have a good time. You ain't got to worry about no problems. I mean, you're going to have a couple of old ladies probably give you stank face if you sitting in what they call their seat. It's like, calm down, mama. I didn't see no reserve sticker here. Like, relax. You know what I mean? That's about the only conflict you're going to have. But they give you a free meal. You understand? And you get to make a little cash. Man, what? Stop playing with me. So understand, old people are very social. They're very, very social. So don't get it twisted that just because your family member is older, it's not some shenanigans popping. Don't say I ain't warn you. Don't say I ain't warn you. That's all I'm going to say to that. Don't say I didn't warn you. Now, hold on. I'm looking at something. Okay, so I told y'all about the CFPB. Oh, another thing I want to tell you about. The West Virginia National Guard is being deployed to D.C. for the continued federal takeover of D.C. Just so y'all know. Trump is trying to do everything to get you to stop asking about them damn Epstein files. You understand? Anything possible, because we still ain't got those files. So anything he can do to stop that conversation, he's going to do it. Now, I'm going to tell you why I think West Virginia, right? Why West Virginia is taking him up on the National Guard coming here. Because, see, the governor of West Virginia has to approve that. And I'm telling you why they're doing it. Because Trump and them, the Trump administration didn't give them enough money after that natural disaster. They needed more money. So I think that they're hoping they'll get more money. Ain't no money for them. The money is used for all this immigration stuff that the administration is doing. Christian, no, you're not allowed to be in here, beloved. You don't have enough followers. Bye. Don't forget to write. I done told you. We don't do that here. We're here having grown folks conversation. Look, he's gone already, Sierra. Sierra in here like Snoop Dogg. She said, who? In here like Soulja Boy. Who? In here like Keke Palmer. I've never seen that man a day before in my life. Like, what are we doing? Yeah, see, Donald Trump, he's ultimately using the National Guard as a distraction in the media to change the narrative so they don't talk about the Epstein stuff. That's all. It's to change headlines at newspapers and websites so people don't continue to ask about the Epstein stuff, and so they can easily let Ghislaine Maxwell out of prison and you won't even notice. That's really the end game. That's the end game. The end game is to release her, but without you even noticing. So watch. That's why you're getting all these distractions and all this bullshit. That's why you're getting it. No, the guy that released the sandwich, he's being charged with a felony. Yet the January 6ers got pardoned after they beat cops. They want to release her because she has information on Trump. That's my assumption, that she has some information about Trump and Epstein's relationship and things that Trump may or may not have participated in. And so the goal, because again, I told y'all before, they moved her from Florida to Texas because she has family in Texas. They're making her more comfortable than they've made you. Think about it. Trump is working harder to make sure she good than he is to make sure you good and your family. He care about her more than you. That doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, she might sign an NDA, but I don't know if an NDA protects you against covering up crimes, though. But again, I don't know. You're right, Oscar. Any other key figures as well. I'm just saying Trump, a lot of what Trump is doing is the direct result of not wanting you to keep talking about the Epstein files. That's why I won't stop talking about it. Because it is imperative that we don't forget. Now, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. Yep, Obama released his birth certificate, but Trump won't release the Epstein files. You're right, Russ. You're right. But Trump isn't going to release the files. We know why. We also know that the FBI was tasked with redacting his name. Yeah, Trump bought Maxwell's silence. At least temporarily. At least for the next couple of years. Yeah, I heard about Hunter. How Hunter told Melania to, fuck off. I don't blame him. She ain't gonna do shit. She not gonna sue him. It was just a bullshit threat. And again, if she is, I would love to see the discovery because we've seen all the pictures of them all together. So I would love to see the discovery. Again, they say a lot of things. Hey, y'all, Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo fussing. But they say a lot of things, but at the end of the day, most of the time they won't sue. It's just a scare tactic. Yep, that's when the fouls come into the conversation. Exactly. Because how do you sue Hunter Biden about saying that without the Epstein files coming up in conversation in a lawsuit about that, about the other stuff? Of course, you're going to hear something about Epstein files. Yeah. So that's why I'm looking at it. But pay attention, y'all. The West Virginia National Guard is going to D.C. to continue the federal takeover of Washington, D.C. And again, it's not something I'm surprised by. Trump needs as many distractions as he can possibly can. Inflation is sky high. Job market is shit. Government's all screwed up. Your money don't stretch as far as you want it to. When you go to the grocery store, you feel like it's a personal attack every time you go in there. I know I do. Every time I go in that grocery store, I feel like it's a personal attack against me. Literally. I be feeling some type of way. Like this some bullshit. And every time you go, it costs more and more and more money. It's all my, like I was at Family Dollar today, and in places you're hoping will be buffered by it, they're not buffered. I was in Family Dollar today. There are these big cosmetic rounds I like to buy. They used to be $2 a pack. That pack has gone up a whole $1. They're now $3. I'm like, damn, you didn't even give me no Vaseline. You didn't even buy me a dinner. Like, what is this? It's everywhere. Yep, even the Dollar Tree. I told folks I went in there the other day. I saw their $3 items now. They're $2 items. They're $4 items. They're $6 items. Somebody told me the other day they even have $8 items. I'm like, listen, it's out of control. Out of control. Stella, girl, I was feeling like Ice Cube, no Vaseline. Like, what are we doing? I was like, yo, a whole $1. A whole $1. My thing was, it wasn't even 25 cents, 50. They was like, fuck it. We're going to charge you the whole thing. And I need y'all to understand, once these prices go up, they're never coming back down. That's not what companies do. They don't drop prices. But your wages haven't kept up with this inflation. Your wages haven't kept up with this inflation. You said your $1 item went up to, yep, $1.25. But see, Dollar Store going to go up again to $1.50. Base price. Yeah, they charging all those higher prices for those other higher items. But I figured they're going to go up $1.50. Because when I was in there recently, they were using these little red circular stickers to cover up the $1.25 signs if it was on stuff. I'm telling you, they're changing it already. Exactly. It's those tariffs. And I call tariffs Trump taxes. Like, I'm going to show y'all some meat. Hold on. First, I'm going to let you see that while I look at it. You might as well say you're getting that much. There it is. Every day that total changes. So how much is it today in your neighborhood with today in your neighborhood in relation to, that stuff? How much is it costing you? I don't know what was said. My dog is Charlie. I didn't see it. I was looking for something. Socks in Walmart went from $6 to $10, and some varied up to $14. Oh, hell no! That's a lot of money. Like, those of you all who are still buying coffee, how are you doing that? Coffee is so expensive. Luckily, I already had coffee in the house, and I don't drink. Okay, Michelle said, no, yeah, Michelle telling tales. The prices ain't went down. at least $6 extra for canisters of coffee. Yeah, how y'all still doing that? Oh, y'all not you okay, Sierra, you're not buying it anymore. Yeah, I don't know how y'all buying coffee. Thank you, my dog. Look, thank you, Charlie. But I don't buy coffee. I just drink tea. Cause for right now, I got enough tea in my house and tea is still pretty affordable. Basic ass tea. I'm not doing anything extravagant. Basic tea. And for right now, I'm still able to catch cheap tea pretty cheap. $10 for 12 pods? Oh, hell no. At that point, I give up coffee. I wonder, look, I'm about to go on Starbucks.com. I want to check something. I want to see how much it costs for coffee at Starbucks. I just want to see. Starbucks was already expensive. So I'm like, I can't imagine having Starbucks now. And I think for a lot of people, they're addicted to it. You know what I'm saying? They're kind of like addicted to this stuff. So it's going to be the hardest for them to let it go because of the simple fact that it's not, they're addicted to the process of doing it. I'm looking to see. Hold on, I got to select. They make you select so many things. I'm going to add to order because I just want to see. Pick up. I'm going to just see. I want to see. It has to be over $12. It has to be. It has to be over $12. So I want to see. So how much is this? Okay, so if you get a Starbucks blonde vanilla latte, that's still $6.31 fucking cent. It's $5.95 before taxes. That's a lot of money for a coffee, right? So if I get like a Frappuccino, okay, all those things are unavailable. Okay, look, I guess they ain't got the stuff. Wow, they say all that stuff unavailable. Okay, let's get a refresher. How much y'all charging for a refresher? We're going to get a strawberry acai lemonade refresher. And if I got a grande, say I got a venti, how much would that cost? I want to just see. Okay, $6. Damn. You said Bustelo jumped from 14 to 21. Damn. That would be the end of me drinking Bustelo. Look, size venti, listen. I'm telling on myself, I don't order that shit though. I'm not paying that much for freeze-dried, rehydrated strawberries. That's not happening. So I don't order that stuff. Yeah, that's not stuff that I order. Costing more. Yeah, you get smaller quantity now. That's my thing. While all this stuff is happening, I'm looking at these prices. I know it's got to be squeezing, every working class American because your food doesn't stretch your money doesn't stretch as far. And the portions that you get sold at stores are smaller. They're not even large enough portion sizes anymore. So you have to buy more of it to be able to feed your family. So you're not saving any money. You're actually spending more money, getting less to spend more. So it's an untenable situation for America. At some point, we're going to hit a wall. Oh, you need Bustelo for work. Oh, shit. That's a lot of money, man, for coffee. That's a lot of... Sodas are expensive. Potato chips. So much is so expensive now. Meat. Any type of vegetables. Hell, even if you... Look, vegetarians, they were laughing at first. Ha, ha, ha. Beef is so expensive. Yeah, but how them carrots doing, mama? What's going on? What's going on with the kale, mama? Yeah, all that shit done gone up. Nobody is safe. Okay? There's no fucking diet that you can do right now to save money. You understand? The only diet you can do to save money is called hunger strike. You understand? Because there ain't no other way There, you can't hit nobody with that bullshit no more. You can save money on your groceries bill if you become a vegetarian. Bullshit. Might be cheaper for your ass to switch back and get you some jerky. Not right now, beloved. Because if you eating shit like that, like I don't eat Beyond Meat because it makes my stomach hurt. But I don't even understand how people eat that because that is processed meat. You understand? And so it makes my stomach hurt. I don't mess with it. In the beginning when it first came out, I was able to eat it, but then over time, I could not eat it, and so I don't mess with it. It's just not something I can eat. You know, I ain't gonna lie though, that Impossible Whopper, that used to be the business, but I can't handle it. I don't even buy Impossible beef. I just don't mess with it. No, a garden is not enough to sustain one person anymore. I mean, it can be, but you got to grow a lot of shit. And the first thing is you got to get the right seeds, right? You got to get them non-GMO things. I bought a pack out of the TikTok shop, and I use that to plant the stuff that I've been growing on my deck. Y'all, I was so mad. I went out to water my garden earlier, and some bitch-ass squirrel or bird stole one of my cherry tomato plants. Oh, sucker ass. He ate, I don't know what kind of thing did it, but it's like it sliced it off the top. Like just, and it's on my deck. Like you got to come upstairs. So I know it wasn't a deer or nothing like that. So I'm like, damn, who did that? What did that? So disrespectful. The whole thing. It's like, say this the plant. They just like snipped it off here, like straight across whatever ate it. But they ate it. You know, the roots and everything is in there. It'll grow back, I guess, over time. But damn, they carried me. I was like, yo, I can't even. One of the reasons why I stopped growing stuff in the yard is because I learned really fast. Like those fantasies you see on television, like, oh, I'm so one with nature. And I started my garden in my yard because I wanted to be close to nature and everything, and the bunnies and the birds and the squirrels. They lie. When you get close to all those things, all that stuff, it's like public enemy number one. Your entire job is protecting your fucking food. Because all those animals, they like carrots too, mama. They like cabbage too. You understand? So you're constantly, it's like an assault from all sides. Ground, air, from all fucking sides. And I remember one night when I used to have my garden in my yard before I just gave up and started doing it on my deck this year. I went to use the bathroom in the middle of the night, and I look out into the yard, and what do I see? A big ass buck leaning into my garden going to town. The fencing was irrelevant. It didn't matter because bro was like, man, this fencing is trash. Man, fuck this fencing, man. I'm eating this. And if it wasn't the deer, it was the rabbits when the deer knocked the fence down. If it wasn't them, it was squirrels. Then it was birds. It was like, yo, I just threw my hands up. I was like, fuck it. Y'all got it. Where I really threw my hands up, I was still trying. But I'm going to tell you what I gave up. When I gave up was when I was in my garden one day and I saw a black widow spider. I said, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. I said, no, ma'am. You got it. You can have this garden. I don't like it here anyway. It took me 2 years before I went back in that fucking garden. That black widow had me shook. You understand? I've seen Spider-Man. I'm too old to be like Miles Morales. So I was like, no, ma'am. So I said, you can have the garden. And I didn't go back out there for 2 years. And then now that I'm growing stuff again, I do it on my deck. But I don't know what the fuck ate my tomato plant. So, yeah. Every day is a fight out there, too. If I'm not fighting aphids, I'm fighting spiders. Or I'm fighting a wasp. Or I'm fighting whatever the fuck ate my tomato plant. But every day is a battle. Out there on that damn garden, even on my deck. Because I still don't know what ate that. I don't know. Do squirrels like tomato plants? Oh. You said it also reassures you that you ain't going in nobody feel. Yeah, you have to be built for expecting to see things. That's why I wear gloves. You understand? As long as I don't touch it with my bare hands, for the most part, I'm okay. Except certain situations I go, let me find my husband. You can stick your hand in it, sir. I'm not. I'll live to tell your story. But I'm not sticking my hand in there. Yeah. You know, men don't mind sticking their hands in anything. I'm not a man, and I'm not one of those people. You understand? So I just tell my husband, hey, this is a situation. You should look into that. You say you remember picking your grandparents' crop. Yeah, I remember. Listen, I had to be out there in the garden growing up because my family down south grew gardens. Thank you so much, Russ. I appreciate the safari hat. My family in North Carolina, they grew their own food. They raised their own chickens. I remember grandma had a turkey. No, we didn't have no pigs or nothing like that. We would go to places and get that stuff. Like butcher shops and stuff like that to get that stuff. But they wouldn't buy it at the grocery store. That stuff was bought fresh from somebody who raised those animals and then proceeded to sell them. You know. But yeah, that's why I said, and I think for a lot of Americans, we're going to have to get back to a lot of that. All of this big, conglomerate meat processing stuff is just not good because how they treat the animals versus you buying locally from somebody that raised those animals in much better conditions. They got much better food. The meat ain't stressed. And therefore, if you're going to eat it, don't you want to get something good? Yeah, and I agree, Lily. Stay away from processed meats. Oh, you still raise and grow stuff? That's the best way to do it. Oh, so when your family was in Mississippi, you had pigs, rabbits, chickens. But see, and crops. That's the way to do it, though. See, I think for a lot of people, we got away from how we were raised, right? Because we hated doing the shit because we were forced to do it. So when we got old enough, we were determined to do everything but not that, right? But living on your land, living from the land, it makes a difference in the quality of life of how you live. Because you're not then impacted by the system and how the system is set up in the way that everybody else is. Because you're not as entrenched in the matrix as everybody else is. And we got away from that. And I think we have to get back to that. Growing our own shit. Those are facts. Got to get back to growing our own stuff. It's just no way around it. That is the only way to get back to having better situations, is to have more control. Because food and water is where your power is. So you got to have control over your food and your water. Companies are even trying to tell us they own our water, which is crazy. Next thing, they'll own our air. Yep. Find a real butcher. To Lily's point, find a real butcher. Just go on the internet and search. Yeah, seeds are still available. I bought a seed pack from the TikTok shop that was non-GMO seeds. And the stuff that I've been growing came from that seed pack. I have corn out there, basil, I still have one cherry tomato plant left. Two others. Even though some fucking animal ate the other one. 2 Roma tomato plants that I grew from it. Green onions. Some cantaloupe that I'm still growing from it. So I've grown a couple of things. Yeah, I don't know if they're heirloom seeds. I gotta double check. But I remember when I was growing up, our watermelons had seeds in them. And now to see, it's almost impossible to find a seed watermelon. It's on purpose. Because they don't want you to be able to grow your own food, because growing your own food gives you power over things. And they know that. I don't know if some of you know, in some jurisdictions, it's illegal for you to catch rainwater. Water from the fucking sky. They tell you can't have that water. Because they want you to pay for every damn thing. That's why. One of the reasons why I wanted to live where I wanted to live and live on well water was because I didn't want to have to pay a water bill. One. And two, I didn't want to be under the will of whatever company it was. I'm like, fuck all of that. Because these utility companies are crazy with their prices. Okay, Dr. Joe says save the seeds from the good food you eat, especially the heirloom variety. So just as a note, you guys, make sure you save those seeds. See, this is one of the reasons why I love us getting together, because as a community, we have these conversations and we share information that help each other. That's one of the reasons why I love it, because we do that. You know what I mean? That's why I don't do the trolling shit, because it takes away from the ability to be able to have the discussion. You know what I'm saying? So without any of those interruptions. So that's one of the reasons why I don't do the trolling in that way, because it takes away from us being able to have positive discourse. And I want to remind you all, as far as positive discourse, don't forget to check out the Patreon to vote in the movie poll, because the movies were suggested. I listed them all in a poll. Now folks are voting. I think when I checked earlier, we had like 6 votes. Let me see how many we have now, because I know earlier we had like 6 people have voted so far. Make sure you check it out, because once we decide what that final movie is, we're going to watch it and then discuss it this month. Right now, yeah, we still have 6 votes. The poll closes on the 19th. So just know that. Click the link in my bio, go over and check it out, and vote in the movie discussion, because we had a great discussion about Sinners last month. And I think whatever movie we pick this month, we'll have a great discussion about that too. But we had a really good discussion. You said that's what you're doing. You're growing your own food. Yep, grow your own food and save your seeds. If you're in a position to get chickens so you can have your own eggs, get chickens. See, I want chickens, but my husband won't let me be great. He don't let me have enough. I want chickens. I want goats. He's like, nope, nope. Like, okay. All right. What they say? Okay. Okay. No, not even goats. My neighbor down the street has such the cutest goats. Every time I drive by, I say, oh, look at the baby. My husband's like, ugh. Chickens are fun. They are. My grandmother used to have chickens. I remember having to take care of them at my grandmother's home. Your heirloom will always come back to original from seeds. Ah. Is that why it's so hard to get a hold of of good heirloom based food? Because they know if you have access to those seeds and you know to save them, you can just continue to grow things and grow things and grow things. That's crazy. Mama D says, yes, ma'am. Wow. Yeah, the key is to get the access. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Monsanto wants to make it so that they decide what is good food and what isn't good food. And those are the last people we want to make those decisions. So grow something. You can even grow stuff in your home. You don't have to have if you got a balcony, you live in an apartment and you got a balcony, put stuff on your balcony. If you don't have a balcony, grow some stuff in your house. Get yourself a grow tent. But you can grow your own food. That is the only way for us to really take back our power. Controlling, because honestly, when rich and powerful people control the food and the water, they control everything. They control everything, because those are essentials. You understand? Those are essentials. And Stella, I see your comment now. Yes, you can't collect rainwater in some jurisdictions. They won't let you. I remember my great uncle got in trouble with the city for collecting rainwater. He used to use it to water his gardens with, like as extra water on times where there were droughts and stuff like that. But they stopped him from doing that. Yep, exactly. Monsanto wants to, do what they want to do. So the only roads to have anything is through them. That's why people, again, they talk about how the increase is in illnesses and stuff like that. I'm telling you, a lot of it goes back to our food, because the food isn't pure. The food is tainted, and it starts as seed. You know what I mean? So it's not normal to buy a bag of apples and they can sit on your counter for 4 weeks, like a whole month, and not spoil. That's not normal. That's not normal. Because once you pulled it off the tree, it's essentially starting to die. So that's not normal that 4 weeks later it's still looking okay. That's something wrong with that apple. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I go, Mama D says I'm off the grid and catch rainwater, no well on time. But see that, Mama D, you living the life. See, where I'm at, I can catch rainwater too, and I live on a well as well. Because where we are, we kind of can do what we want to do. Because it's kind of, it's suburban, but it's kind of rural enough that we can do what we want to do. Because nobody's going to be walking in your backyard. Nobody. Except for whoever you let in your backyard. Because people don't trespass in my neighborhood. That's not what they do. Because trespassing would not be good for you here. Yeah. Mosquito bites will solve that. Oh, bits. I'm sorry. Will solve that. I missed it. We mean solve what specifically? That's what I was wondering too, JK. Because I was about to ask that question as well. But yeah, I would say grow things. Start to make your own food as much as you can. Oh yeah, mosquitoes and standing water. Yeah, you do have to watch that. If you're going to have standing water, you do have to pay attention to mosquito larvae and all that other stuff. Because you don't want it to be a place for mosquitoes to fester and grow. And Dr. Joe says that she uses mosquito dunks for the issue about standing water. So something to think about. And Mama D says she uses hydrogen grade peroxide to treat water tanks and lemongrass. So there are many ways that you can go about doing it. But understand, it's nothing wrong with collecting water from the sky. I'm like, but I do know that there are municipalities that do not allow it because they do have the issue about mosquitoes. That's one of the issues of why they don't allow it. Because they're concerned about people not doing the necessary things to avoid a mosquito larva issue. Because some people are lazy. Let me be honest. Most people are. There's some people who are not. But most people will just collect the fucking water. They won't even care. Yeah, Nestle is the other reason why we have issues with our water. Because Nestle wants to own clean water. Again, water should be a utility. It should be, everybody should have access to clean water. There is no reason why a corporation needs to be the only entity that can provide clean water. That's nuts to me. But I'm not surprised because in this current administration, everything is about monetizing the American experience. Americans have allowed rich people to monetize every fraction. I've been telling y'all this. I've been telling you this for a minute, that you've allowed rich people to monetize every fraction of your life. They monetize all the media you have access to. They monetize your car. They monetize video games. You buy the game. You got to pay to be a part of their network. You got to, pay for the packages and add-ons. Like it never stops. They monetize every portion of your life. Every portion. And we have to ask ourselves, do we need all of that? Like in our house, we have those smart thermostats, right? And personally, I hate them. And I told my husband, I said, these thermostats go out one more time and have to be replaced. We're going back to traditional old school thermostats. Because the traditional old school thermostats didn't go out as much as these new age smart thermostats that ain't really all that damn smart. I'm like, fuck it. If I gotta walk and go to the thermostat every time I need to adjust, then I'll do that. Because I tell you, I get tired of having to pay Google for a repeated thermostat over and over and over again. Because they're not doing what they need to do with it. Every time we have a power outage, the thermostat stop working after the power come back on. Like, we're not doing that. I'd rather have it just an old school thermostat. And you're right, Mandan, that the corporations are concerned that their water cash cow will end. That's what, Water is life. Water is life. So if we allow access to clean water to be dictated only by corporations and rich and powerful people, we're going to be fucked. We're going to be fucked. And that's real talk, because rich people are greedy. They're way greedier than poor people. I know you don't want to believe that, but rich people are way greedier than the working class. Way greedier. And not only are they way more greedy, they insecure. And I'm going to prove it to you. Rich people are more inclined to be insecure than you are. You know why? Because your worth is not measured by the things you have and that you don't have. That's not the same with rich people. They are measured by what they acquire, by what they dominate. They'll lie and say that's not true. That's bullshit. That's where rich people get their accolades. What they take, what they consume, what they dominate. That's when they get claps and applauses from their peers. So when they lose those things, they lose their identity. But you as a working class person, the things you own are not the determining factor of you looking at your worth and going, I am worth X. It's not because you own those things. Because you learned a long time ago that you can't tie your worth to the things that you own. Now, rich people, that's why a lot of times I say some rich people are morally bankrupt. I'm not saying all of them, but most of them are morally bankrupt. Because they measure who they are and their worth on the money they earn. And that's a fact. What did Eddie Murphy say in Trading Places? He said, the thing that bothers rich people more than anything is to make them poor. Whoa, so in Iowa, you've been told not to use most of your beaches in this summer? Oh, wow. And now they want to repeal the EPA. They will. That's because corporations don't like the EPA. Because corporations want to be able to pollute. They want to be able to mess up neighborhoods. And they don't want us to have any say in anything. And keep in mind, I'm going to tell you the part that I don't like the most. We don't get no say and we pay all the taxes. We don't get no say and we pay all the taxes. That's why I get annoyed. Because we don't have any say, but we pay the bulk of the fucking taxes. While the rich and the powerful use tax loopholes by congressmen, by senators, we don't have the money to buy them. For some strange reason, our donations aren't enough when it's all put together. They still are looking at their other money. That's why I'm just like, enough is enough. I am tired. I remember what it used to cost to live. And honestly, back in the day, I would say even back in the day before we got to this point, I remember saying to people then, hey, stuff is getting too expensive. And people would look at me and be like, huh, what you mean? It's nothing, it's nothing. Like, for example, I remember back in the day, at first you could go to a $20, $25 brunch. Then somewhere along the way, it went $40, then $50, $75. And I'm saying to people, I'm thinking to myself and saying to people sometimes, how are people affording this? Where's all this money coming from? You know, sometimes had me questioning myself, what am I doing wrong? Because I'm not taking 5, 6 vacations a year. It's not until you find out what's behind the curtain that you realize the sacrifices that people are making to do that shit. Love you too, Raw. Yup, they putting it on the fucking credit card. You right. Yeah, $100 haircuts. Not me, Jack. Not me. I go to my husband's barber, get that good old $20 special. When he about to go get his haircut, I'll be like, hey, man, it's time for me to shape up. It's time for me to shape up. Listen, not paying all that money for no fucking haircut. Are you kidding me? Store is now the $1.50 store, $150 store. You ain't never lied. Oh, thank you so much, Raw, for enjoying my videos. I appreciate that. I'm really looking at running for office. I am. I'm looking at that. I won't lie about that. Look, I ain't got no job. Congress make $174,000 a year. That would be a raise. You know what I mean? That would be a raise. Now, anybody who know this reference, if I run for office and I win, I'd be in my office going, some bitch. Now, only those of you who know the movie know what I'm talking about. Know what I'm talking about. I'm thinking about it. It just comes down to money. It honestly comes down to money. That's really what it comes down to, because politics is full of money now. It said the story of Flint, Michigan and their water problems. Let us know. Yep. And Flint's still having issues with their water. They don't care. They don't want to give the people clean water. Also because they're black. But quiet as kept, if they were poor white people, they would do the same thing. And I'm just telling you the truth. Because at some point when it comes to rich people and their greed, it's not about, the only color they care about is green. They don't give a damn who it impacts. It's beyond any color. You understand? They only think about green. And you ain't never lied, Stella. They thinning out the herd. Because they want those who won't challenge the system. You can't challenge it when you don't have enough education and knowledge to do so. And that's a fact. That is a fact. If you don't have enough education and knowledge to do so, you will never challenge the system. You just going to put your head down and stay working. And that's a fact. That's a fact. You know, that is a fact. That's the issue. Yep. I'm so disgusted to find out the consumer. Yep. It's going to be dismantled, Sky. When I read that article earlier, I was like, damn. And I've used that agency, like I said, at least 4 times. That's at minimum. It's probably been more than that I've used the CFPB. Because when corporations want to act indignant, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to act indignant too and report your ass. That's why it's important to know your rights. Again, people complain about government, but when your government is working well, you don't notice it because you shouldn't. You only notice it when it's dysfunctional. And then you get all upset. And it's like, you have it's fair to be mad when it's not working the way it should. But ultimately, your government is doing a lot of things. A lot more things than you actually realize. And now that you're in this situation, you're like, oh shit, I didn't realize my government did all these things. Until you don't have access to them. Like Tennessee with all their floods. I ain't heard nothing about FEMA getting sent out. I ain't heard nothing about no disaster declaration. Have you? Tennessee is on their own. But they voted for that. So I'm like, I don't know what, we can't care about people more than anybody, than they care about themselves. You know? It's impossible. You can't care for people more than they care for themselves. FEMA is taken out, yeah, because of Project, but when we tried to tell people about Project 2025, they said we were over-exaggerating. They believed Trump's bullshit when he said he don't know nothing about it. Man, it says they're keeping the funding for they keep the funding because they reroute it to ICE and DHS. Because I'm telling you, the government's running out of money. I told y'all they borrowed $1 trillion last month. We're running out of money. He said they're keeping the funding. Okay, Tennessee's governor isn't helping at all. Right, but Tennessee's governor isn't helping because he don't give a fuck. That's just the truth. You understand? I'm just keeping it all the way a buck. He doesn't care. But now he doesn't have to pretend to. That's the difference now. He doesn't have to pretend. The governor doesn't have to pretend to care. He can say, fuck you. You understand? Fuck you. Because we got what we wanted, total control. That's the party of small government controls like every facet of almost every American's life. That's what they're going for. That's what they're going for. To control every facet of every American's life. And make your decisions for you. All the while yelling freedom and liberty. Because that's exactly what Republicans are doing. That's why when I see people with doing this, I'm like, child, you not paying attention to what's happening. These people don't like you. These people don't like you. They want to dominate you. Somebody who likes you, they ain't trying to dominate you. They try to empower you, educate you. The saddest part is Republicans are playing a short game because they haven't thought about, well, what happens when they need to be cared for? Because everybody has to age. So when you dumb down the populace, well, that's the only people left to take care of you. Then what? Then what? Eventually, you don't have enough people of a certain status to hook up with each other. So then you start hooking up in the same gene pool. That ain't what you want either. So that's the part I don't get. That's the part I don't get, man. They'll pay to care for them. Yeah, but my problem is the care is going to be subpar because you're not going to have the right people being able to care for you. I don't think that rich and powerful people, see, this is the other thing. They never think ahead. They're so greedy. They don't really think ahead in the way they need to. They really don't. They're not as smart as y'all think they are. Look, y'all see what's happening. The change. I could cook bacon right now. Jesus. Speaking of bacon, it is dinner time. So I'm going to start wrapping up. But I thank you all for joining me tonight. Look, we got 32,000 likes. I appreciate that so much. We got over 50 shares. I appreciate that. Don't forget to check out the Straight No Chaser podcast for those of you in the circle crewing up on Patreon. Everybody else, that podcast episode hits tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think you are going to love it. I think that you will. The title of the episode tonight is Pro-Life Tips. How to pretend you don't know shit and get away with it. Listen. I think you will enjoy it. Oh, thank you all so much. I appreciate you guys with the gifts. I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Big Gay Mike. You can freeze your credit. Yep, you can freeze you can put credit alerts on all your credit reports. And he's right, it will not affect your score. The issue is companies have to follow shit. Because I can tell you, if you put alerts on it, freezing it is locking it down so nobody can't even get credit. But say you put an alert on it, that's not enough because companies don't always follow that. That's why locking it is even better. Because nothing can be issued if it's frozen. Nothing. You have to unfreeze it to then get credit when you need credit. But that's fine. You just playing. You just playing. Says Putin asked Trump to come to Moscow. He seems he didn't respond. He isn't going to respond to that. That's a setup. That's a setup right there. He ain't going to Russia. Or better yet, maybe he's letting Trump know, hey, if you're not able to do your takeover of America the way you plan to, you can always come here like Steven Seagal. Oh, yeah, because, Steven Seagal calls himself now Sasha. Those movies he does now, his character's always Sasha. I'm like, his name is not Sasha. That guy's name is Steve. Sasha, my ass. Sasha got Biden hair dye on his beard. I'm like, get out of here. But I thank y'all so much for joining me this evening. Don't forget to check out that Straight No Chaser podcast episode. I know you guys will enjoy it. I had a fun time making it. It's a funny episode. Something more lighthearted tonight. Because I heard you guys when we talked earlier, so I figured I'd go ahead and do an episode on that. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. I will be on tomorrow morning because we got Sunday service tomorrow. So I will be here tomorrow morning. I hope to see you all too. I thank you so much. I thank you for all the likes, shares, engagement, all the conversation. Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate it, no matter how big or how small. I love to send a shout out to my top 5 gifters. I do this every live. I appreciate each and every one of you. Just know that, okay? I really, really do. Number 1, beautiful storyteller. Thank you, beautiful. Number 2, my dog is Charlie. Thank you, beautiful. Number 3, handsome Russ Nelson. Number 4, beautiful Kiana Black. Number 5, beautiful Trail. Trail, I ain't forget about you. I finally found my power up. Listen, you know how MS is. I couldn't remember where I put it. I hid it from myself and I found it. It was in the refrigerator. Anyway, and a special shout out to number 6, this beautiful Freedom Films. You know, listen, you know, sometimes, listen, people with MS, we know. Sometimes you remember, sometimes you don't. But listen, when you do, it's on and popping. Okay? That's all I'll say to that. I love you guys, and I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to end this live like I always tell you. I want you to have a great evening. Don't let nobody live rent-free in your head. Don't feed the trolls, and you can accomplish anything you put your mind to as long as you stay consistent. Peace, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Love you. Good night.